Well, it's Michigan, Ohio State Part 2 with Dennis Fithian and Jim Scarcelli. Scar, sorry about that. We were on here. It could have just been the excitement of the game that overpowered my computer. So I went to a backup mic and a backup system, and we'll see if we're rolling or not. We'll do it this way. So
Danny,
I don't know.
Do
you remember where we left
man.
off?
Sudden change. We had a turnover. You got to adjust. You got to adapt, man. Danny, I was finishing up some things on defense, okay? I don't know where we got cut off, but Henderson is a good back. Toughest running back we saw. He runs inside, he runs outside, and we didn't shut him down, but we did a good job neutralizing him. So that was good. I thought our D line up front was outstanding. It all starts with our two interior guys. I thought Jenkins was sound. Graham had a great game. Both of those guys were really, really good in there. Kenny Grant rotated in. Benny got a few reps. And you have to be good with that. And those guys were good. At times we got moved. You talked about that big drive they had. They moved us at times. Okay, when you go against a team like Ohio State, you're not going to win every battle. You're not going to win every double team. They won a few of them, okay? But our interior guys were really, really sound. I thought our edge players were good enough. There's, again, the same kind of deal, man. This is the kind of game where, there's times Moore got pushed around, but then there's times that he did some great things. I don't know if McGregor was banged up because Moore got a lot more reps than McGregor. Harrell and Stewart kind of rotated in there, and they both did some great things against the run. You play against Ohio State, you better be good against the run. You can't just be a rush to quarterback guy. So our front guys on defense were good enough. Stewart did some real good things against the run, but I'm big on Henderson. Denny, can you hear everything I'm saying?
Yeah, you sound good.
Let me just say this about Ryan Day. The guy did things that gave us problems, man. He did things that gave us problems. They come out and he changed the pace of their offense. Sometimes they would come in and there'd be a delay. We had time to make substitutions, whatever, get lined up. Other times they ran a play and then they would run right to the line and run a play. And it gave us some problems getting lined up. They did get us misaligned. We haven't been misaligned many times at all this year. And I'll give Ryan Day credit. Some of that stuff was on them, making things difficult for us. But Denny, against the Buckeyes, Minter's plan was this. All year long, we bounce back and forth between our nickel package, where we take a D lineman out, and our base package, where we have 3 interior D line and 2 edge. And we've been doing that back and forth. This game, it was going on every other down. One day we'd have nickel, one day we'd have one play. And it would be against similar formations and similar personnel groupings. So Minter was going back and forth with his personnel groupings. You can't have the big guys in there and then expect to stop their pass, but you can't have the little guys in there and stop their run. So it became a guessing game at times. But in general, Danny, you got to have a flat wall. We talk about it, and we'll look at film Monday. And different players on our team did good things to create a flat wall defensively. And I saw it. I saw it from the interior guys at times. I saw it from the edge guys at times. And there's sometimes our secondary came up strong at the line of scrimmage and created that flat wall. But the quick stuff that they did in running their gap scheme, Danny, Ohio State's got athletic offensive linemen. They are not stiffs, and it's not easy to stop. So some of the success they had, those are good-looking, highly recruited guys, well coached, and they don't make it easy on you. But a lot of good stuff up front.
Yeah, even when Michigan comes back and the drive where Zinner went down and Blake Corum ran it in to give Michigan the 24-17 lead, Michigan gets a 3-and-out. Quentin Johnson comes up with a big breakup, Cujo. And then, Michigan has another drive where they come down and they get points. a 38-yard field goal. And so they're up 10. But, if we're crediting Ohio State, that next drive, the one where they came down and had all the runs and tied the game up at 17, well, they responded. I mean, that was a hell of a drive that they had. They went to Marvin Harrison, and they make it a 3-point game. Michigan's got to come up big on that final drive. And on that final drive, they don't have Will Johnson. I mean, Will Johnson goes out they don't have we talked about this all year long about, what cornerback two, and nobody ever said anything about Will Johnson. Suddenly, you don't have Will Johnson out there, and Michigan's got to deal with Marvin Harrison and Fleming and Abuke and all of that. And, they were able to come up big on that final drive. And a kid from Ohio, Rod Moore, able to come up with the interception to seal it at the end. But, they made a pretty nice play being able to strip Fleming. I think it was just on the play before where Ohio State was able to jump on the ball. I mean, that's a huge play, creating that fumble after the catch. And you're almost thinking, oh, man, this is going to come down to them throwing it to Harrison in the end zone with backup corners. But, you get to a situation where you're playing Ohio State and you've got as much as everything that's on the line, the pressure, and Michigan being able to, get that one final stop. And it just makes it for a win for the ages. They'll be talking about this one for as long as we live, Scar.
Yeah, 3 in a row. Great job in all phases. And it was just it was a little stunt that was very well executed. And Harrell came free. Graham was a factor in that stunt, and good coverage and catch the ball, number 9, end the game, man. Let me say this about Johnson. Denny, I think Johnson is playing. I think he's got an ankle. He's got something going on. Okay. But guess what? He did the best he could. I think he's banged up like so many guys are, but he found a way to suck it up. Our linebacker play, I thought it was, pretty solid, pretty good. Against this team, boy, you're asked to do a lot of stuff. You got to step up and stop the run. And as usual, all those linebackers played. Barrett, Jr., Hausman, who played a lot, got a lot of clock, was number 30.
Rolder.
Holder got a lot of clock in there. So it was great for him to get work, get some work in there and get some reps. Denny, don't ever forget this. And this is the only stat Coach Moeller ever talked about. Okay, other than winning, this is the only stat I ever cared about as a coach also. Okay, winning, and then this is the only stat, Denny. Remember this. Defense versus the score. Who gives up the fewest points? Which defense in the Big Ten gives up the fewest points? That's the only stat that matters. Okay, they can go up and down the field, whatever. You keep them out of the end zone, you keep them the field goals. Because I've said this many times. Coach Moeller used to always say it was like 20 years in a row back in the 70s and 80s. The team that gave up the fewest points won the Big Ten championship. Okay, it was us and Ohio State, right? We were 1, they were 2, defense versus the score. Guess what? We won it again. That stat holds true. I don't care about Iowa. You can't throw their defense into this mix. They ain't played Michigan and Ohio State. So their stats are irrelevant. Okay, back in the day, we used to all play each other. So I'm not interested in what the heck kind of defense they've done. They haven't played the kind of people we play. But it was an old school stop the run game, a lot more than it's been in the past. And red zone was big. Our first stop was in the red zone. We got them kicking a field goal. But we didn't make it easy on them. Denny, I thought, I'm not normally a guy whining about officiating, but we didn't get any calls. They get the little BS call. I watched the little BS call they called on Moore, flicking the guy in the face mask, and then they called defensive holding. Nobody calls defensive holding on Mason Graham in there. I thought that was weak.
Well, I didn't like that call. You're right, but the one that did go Michigan's way, and I know it seemed like a lot of Michigan fans and even the media were besides themselves that it would even be a situation, was the Roman Wilson touchdown that they looked at. Joel Klatt certainly thought that it was And, they obviously went to Dean Blandino, who was talking about it. And, I don't know. Did you think that there was no controversy at all of that? My thought was, that it was a touchdown and that there's no way that they could have overruled that by looking at the replay. However, if that official would have said that that was an interception, that I also think that they would have not been able to overturn that. So you could say Michigan got a break there with the officials. I mean, I don't think look at the Graham call. I thought was ridiculous, but with all things considered, I think that Michigan's not going to get a break with the officials because of the Harbaugh situation and with the commissioner and everything else. It's not like the commissioner is going to be like, hey, I don't really like the way, you guys gave Ohio State too many calls. I mean, the Big Ten and the commissioner wanted Ohio State to win this game. But I don't know. The Wilson call, I'm glad that, they got it right, but it was close enough where it could have gone the other way. And if it did, I mean, that's a huge play, obviously. As for a touchdown, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I thought those were the right call. The Roman call was a touchdown. The interception or the catch and then the fumble that they recovered, I thought those were the right calls. It was really close. I don't think Roman's was close at all, but the other one was close, and I can understand them making that call. Again, I got Ryan Day, good schemer, doesn't make it easy. He saw how we were lined up many times, and he found the weaknesses of what we did. You can say what you want about McCord. They got the ball 3rd and 7 on their end, on our end, on the 4-yard line. You remember that first down he threw on to that receiver to get out of trouble there? That was a huge play by him. The kid is not a stiff. He doesn't run like JG, but he is not a stiff, man. And but that's Denny. That's about all I got on defense, man. Is just win that the stat that really matters is defense versus the score. We didn't give them nothing easy, nothing over our head. We had they have to work for everything. The kid is the best receiver in the country, and he caught some balls against one of our guys who's limping around a little bit, but he didn't run wild. Nobody was running wild against our defense.
I'm with you on that. We'll give you some thoughts on the Big Ten championship game. There is some news from Sharon Moore, who spoke after the game. He was asked about Will Johnson's injury, called it lower leg, and says he thinks he'll be all right. He also said that he never felt any pressure, the way his players attack things and made him feel prepared. That's where we're at right now. No update on Sharon. On Zach Zinter. He did talk to his parents, but nothing like he said. Let me see. I'll give you the exact quote on Zinter. He says, I was on the phone with his mom and we got some positive news. Says he'll heal up at some point. Didn't have any timeline.
Danny, when I was playing my first couple of years, the linemen were not wearing these braces. And then the guy by the name of Anderson, Dr. Anderson from the LA Raiders, he created those big metal braces that you wear along your and Bo had it mandatory for all front 7 players on both sides of the ball to wear these braces. And it saved a lot of guys. I used to complain and whine about wearing that thing, but it saved me a couple times. And I saw the hit he took, and he's wearing the brace. And man, I'm praying. I'm hoping that maybe that's just a strain and not a major deal. But Denny, let's go kicking game. We didn't talk about the kicking game. It was a factor in here. Our kickoff team was good. We had a lot of touchbacks. We did kick one out of bounds, and then we had to cover. So they got nothing on our kickoff team, which was great. They punted from their 50-yard line. They punted from the 50-yard line, Denny, and then we get the ball at the 25-yard line. So that's a mistake on their part. Our punter was better. Our punt team was better. Our punt team, we punted a few times. We had great coverage, great protection, great coverage. We dropped it down there on the 2-yard line one time, Denny. That stuff is huge. Okay, their guy kicks it, and we get it at the 25. We stick them down there on the 2-yard line. And how about Thaw catching every punt? You don't ever want to get used to believe, you gotta thank these guys for catching punts. You don't ever take it for granted as a coach. I sure as hell don't. And then the extra point protection, kicking. We got a guy, again, our guy made a 50-yarder. Their guy missed a 52-yarder. You don't think that matters? That's big time. We win this game by a field goal. So huge. If it's the other way, we lose the game. So kicking game, Denny, secure the ball, stop the run the ball, win the kick game. We got it done.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by Michigan being able to beat Ohio State 3 years in a row. All of those years watching Ohio State beat Michigan, it looked like it was never going to turn. And to be able to do it and then win the Big Ten, that validates it. They've done that 2 years in a row. If they can go on and do that again, that'll just be another, hammer right on top. And then, this team, what we have seen now with these players and the way they were able to rally around one another with their teammate that went down without their head coach and with everything else swirling around them. I don't think anybody right now, if you're a Michigan fan, sitting around thinking about, hey, I'm scared of Georgia or Alabama or Iowa or anything else. This team can win it all. And this was a big part of it. It took everybody. You went through all of that. You're right. Kicking games. Doman, he's a star. Being able to put the ball down in the inside the 5 like he has these last couple games. I mean, he's a real weapon. So. Turner had been a long time since he had to, kick one. It seemed like he was kicking a lot of 27, 30-yard field goals. And so for him to knock one in from the distance he did was pretty impressive. But, yeah, this team's one for the ages here. And they're not done yet, but this was a huge victory with everything that surrounded them. Awesome job. Great job by Sharon Moore. Everybody. Program win and one that won't soon be forgotten.
A lot of recruits at the game, Denny. They said there was up around 70 big-time recruits, okay? And we want to get those guys, man. I'm not, I know my buddy, my former teammate Eric Caddis was there, and we won his son, and he was there watching.
How about Bryce Underwood?
I hope he was in the house.
He was.
Okay, well, what do you want to do, man? You're right down the street, man. Play for a champion. Play for the best quarterback coach in the country. What do you want to mess around? Ain't nothing down there in the bayou. We want to play for that guy. Come up here, you stay home, man. And we got to get him. Yeah, so hopefully he was there. Maybe those are the kind of guys you come in the locker room after the game. I remember seeing that as a recruit. You see that as a recruit, man. You see these guys celebrating, and they're crying across the hallway. That stuff matters, man. And that's big to be at that game as a recruit. We got to close. We might have closed some deals today. Maybe we'll get some good news this week from some of these guys we're recruiting. Why screw around? Tell Coach Harbaugh I'm in, man. Shake his hand.
Yeah, we'll give some final thoughts. Scar, when I hear you talk like that and the journey that this team has been on, they needed to have this victory today. It was you can't minimize. I mean, in fact, you can't do anything but just give this team the full marks for being able to go out there and win this game with all of the things that are going on around the program. And it just what they can do with this and how everything looks now, where we could be sitting here and picking up the pieces and talking about, oh no, all of that, just seems like it's just thrown over there in the corner. And, this team is energized. I'm sure the fan base, is, out of sight energized. They've got some guys banged up, but they've got another Big Ten championship to play for. There was a time, wasn't so long ago, that people were making jokes about Michigan doesn't know how to find Indianapolis, and, now they're heading back there 3 years in a row. So great job for everyone. Great job by you, Scar. Tell us, take this one home. Give us your final thoughts.
Just, Denny, we've been hitting it. Overall program win, all the things we talk about foundationally that you want to win a football game, securing the ball, run the ball, stopping the run, win the kicking game. And our coaching was good. We had to be creative. We had to be bold. We had to throw it on first down. And our tight ends were outstanding on first down. Our defense was good enough to win. They moved us at times. They pushed us around at times, but nothing easy. We stopped them in the red zone at times when we had to. And we needed this game. We needed both sides of the ball, Denny. We needed offense and defense. It's one of those games that I played in as a player where, you're getting pushed around on defense. And you're like, man, come on, baby. Let's offense. I need you. We need you, man. And the offense would respond. And then the defense and the offense is saying, okay, now it's your turn. But we found a way as a unit to have all three of our units solid and sound. But, Denny, now these guys, and this is about the mental toughness of our leader and our assistant coaches and our player. Okay, look what they've been through, battered, beat up, just beat an undefeated football team, highly emotional game, highly emotional, 11-0 versus 11-0. Everybody's watching. And now you got to go play Iowa. Iowa's coming off. They're going to have an extra day of rest. I never liked that. I never liked that at all. They get that extra day rest. They play on Friday, whatever. It is what it is. I don't like it. So they got an extra day. We got our old quarterback over there. I don't trust that kid. He's chirped, said bad things about Michigan. So, he'll do everything he can to help their defense. But we got to go there, and they are a good defense. But the same old game plan. But our guys got to get up again, Danny. We got to get up again. Okay, we just played an undefeated team, huge game, and now emotionally we got to step it up again for another week. You got to suck it up and perform, prepare, and get physically, emotionally ready, mentally to prepare and do it again. Grind it out again, because you ain't getting no break until you win next Saturday.
I love it, Scar. You said it. Michigan needed all three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. We got all three phases from you as a former player, as a former coach, and now as a broadcaster. You brought it on all three levels as well. Great job. We'll talk with you on Monday.
All right, Danny, go blue.
There he is, Jim Scarselli. Michigan wins it over Ohio State for the third year in a row.